Designed for working professionals, Georgetown's Executive MBA features a hybrid format that delivers community on campus and convenience at home. Classes are held in person 1 weekend per month on our Washington, D.C. campus and 1 Saturday per month online, helping you balance work, life, and career advancement. Plus, you'll have the opportunity to participate in an international consulting project abroad with a global client. You'll get to choose from a variety of electives to customize your curriculum based on your interests and career goals. And enjoy the access only Georgetown provides in DC, with connections to industry experts, global leaders, and influential institutions. It's time to expand your understanding of how globalization shapes both global and local business strategy. Ready to build your legacy as a business leader? Earn Georgetown's Executive MBA. Explore the program at msb.georgetown.edu/EMBA-podcast.
This is Fixing Famous People, the podcast where two reality television producers pitch solutions to save celebrities in dire straits.
But first, let's get to the Pre-Fixe, your weekly pop culture roundup. Dominic,
how are you?
Louise.
You're already shaking your head and we haven't even started.
I'm shaking my head because all I know is that I was FaceTimed last night by you. And when I say Clistener's hanging on your back arms front and center, like you were in a tornado of people screaming bloody murder in a karaoke bar. And then a picture is sent to me that is you and one of our like OG top Clisteners kissing each other on the lips. That's what I'm seeing is you two in a sexually charged embrace with your faces.
There was almost tongue. I almost tongue kissed a female Clistener at my Nashville holiday show. It really almost happened.
What's happening?
I don't know. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's the fucking holidays. Everyone's just in a good mood.
Like Dom, we now are not gay apparel because
Dom, we now our bisexual apparel. Will I have to change the name of the show if I engage with a woman? Yeah, I have to tell you that I have done 4 performances of my holiday show now: San Fran, LA, Palm Springs, and Nashville. The listeners of this podcast have come out in full fucking force. It has been so flattering. It has been such a pleasure meeting so many of these people. They are all throwing shade at you for
I've heard. You've
not
told
going
me,
to the West Coast.
Don't worry,
you've
repeated stories to me. So I don't think I told you this one yesterday. Yeah, the one where this one walked up and said this. Yeah, I heard it.
A man came up to me. I was at the bar in San Francisco and he goes, "So she's too snobby to come to the West Coast?" And I said, "Are you speaking about Christopher?"
No, I'm too poor. That's what it is. I'm too poor. Have some of your friends sign up for the Patreon and then I'll be able to make it there. How about that?
Oh, did you hear that? I'm not going to say anyone's name. So I will just tell you that there were listeners in San Fran, listeners in LA who, I mean, Greg and Sada, their names I can say because we speak about them so often because they are Photoshop royalty. They showed up with us on t-shirts, and there were other listeners, a pair of sisters who had me recreate the photos from Kelly and Mark of me eating Cher.
And know that like
me as Cher and them as me, and it was bizarre and hilarious.
We need to post those. We need to post those. And know that like I'm not getting any of these photos from you. I'm getting it from them. Like you sent me the picture of you and you know who kissing on the lips, and that was like, oh, I already had this. Like
And then in Palm Springs, there's a listener who drove from Portland, Oregon to go to the Palm Springs show. And on the way, picked up like a busload of friends in Fresno. Thank you for doing that. I mean, we love to fill the seats.
Dear God.
And gifted me with a small crystal Christmas ornament in the shape of male genitalia. So thank you for that. I will hang it on my tree. I've used it as a keychain since I saw you. And then in Nashville, I had no idea that Nashville was like Clistener Central. Like a lot of the people who regularly communicate with us and our Patreon subscribers, so many of them live within driving distance of Nashville. It's insane. And it was amazing. Someone showed up with a Subway Dust t-shirt that I autographed.
And
this may or may not have been the same woman who I made out with at
locked
the end
lips
of the night.
with. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a good time. These are great. They're just like us. Like the people who listen to this podcast are as unhinged as we are.
They're sick. Depraved. Yeah.
They're as unwell as we are.
You're all sick fucks is what you are.
They're just other versions of us around the country. And it's fantastic.
It's great. I love it.
So thank you all for coming to these shows. And thank you for continuing to come. You know, Philadelphia is a little undersold, Philadelphia. Dozens of you wrote to me and said, please perform here. And now I am. And there's like 10 seats full. Get on it. But we're having a really good time. And don't forget, Chris will be at the New York. I'll be in Chicago this Friday and New York on Saturday. And the following week, the final 4 performances are Philly, DC, Boston, and Atlanta. And Chris will be at New York, Philly, DC, and Boston for those dual meet and greets. Yeah, and bring whatever you want. We'll sign a tit. We don't care. Like,
Dominick will kiss you. Yeah, well,
I truly, I'll probably take my dick out. All you have to do is just say you're a Patreon subscriber, and I'll be like, oh, $5 a month. Here you go.
Like,
here's
I'll
my
fuck
sack.
you. Yeah.
My friend Michael, who I stayed with in LA, and he also came to the Palm Springs show with me, was flabbergasted. He was like, these people know who you are. They know about your life. You two are famous in their homes. I said, yes. I would like to be famous outside of their homes as well, but I'm thrilled to be famous in the homes of random people.
I mean, Dominick, people posting their Spotify Wrapped for podcasts, and it's like us with obviously our usual suspects, our Chelsea, our pod moms, Chelsea, Devontes, Kate Casey. But then it's like, oh, here's like My Favorite Murder and like Watch What Crappens, and then us. And it's like these humongous behemoths in the podcasting industry.
I know. And I know it sounds like we're like humble bragging here, like, oh, I can't believe it. I promise you we're not. Like we find this so touching and emotional, quite honest with you, and insane as well. Yeah. This woman who I met in Nashville, her friends were like, we told her, be careful, don't meet your heroes. And I just looked at her and I'm like,
which is true, by the way.
Like, bitch, the hero better be from a Subway sandwich shop. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Let's take a selfie.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
I shouldn't be anyone's hero on any perceptible level.
And we prove that every episode of this podcast.
Every episode. And we love it. I love that everyone listens and actually absorbs the information. People were coming up asking me very specific questions about guys that I have mentioned dating on this podcast. Where is he? Where's What It Do? Whatever. They're like, it's crazy and fantastic. I just want to keep doing this. I don't want to go home. I just want to keep going.
Yeah, you really don't. Well, you might never come back, honestly.
I'm having the time of my life out here. I swear. I was born to do it like this, to live out of a suitcase.
Well, get ready, because we're coming in full force in Philly. We're coming full force in DC. Like, I've got people lined up in each city. So just be ready, everyone.
And thank you all for coming. We're not quite halfway done with the tour, but please go to domandterry.com, find the other dates, and come. And look, this is a big time in general. I mean, Chris and I on the road meeting people. And although we may be having a big week, meeting.
The internet is having a bigger week.
the internet's having a bigger week. It was almost impossible to decide what to lead with, but I know what you think I should lead with, but I'm going to lead with the Globes just because let's just do good news first.
Okay.
Golden Globes, Amelia Perez sets a record by getting 10 nominations for Golden Globes. Apparently the record, it was a tie between Cabaret and Barbie. They each had 9 nominations. Amelia Perez storms in there with 10, which includes one of Selena Gomez's 2 nominations because she
Period.
Right.
God, I love her.
And it was great. I mean, overall, no real surprises with the Globes. It seems like a pretty serious and thoughtful list, to be honest with you.
No, I'm like, it's not a lot of like, to quote KKC, bananery. Like, there isn't like some like idiocy happening where I'm like, what's this now? You know what I mean?
There really hasn't been.
Yeah. In a good way. And guess what? We need that right now. I went on Natalie Katona's podcast and I was like, did a whole dissertation about how like we're returning to like talent and just like things that are really good that are just standards.
The only eyebrow raiser for me was the movie The Substance being nominated for musical or comedy. I get like that it's part satire, but I don't feel like it belongs in that category. But
now that the bear can do whatever they want, it's like, you know what I mean? Like all bets are off.
Best motion picture drama: The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown,
What
Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nickel Boys, and September 5th. I've only seen Dune right now in this. I know you've seen Conclave, right?
I've seen Conclave and I've seen Dune. That's it.
I want to see the rest of them. Best motion picture, musical, or comedy: Anora, Challengers, Amelia Perez, A Real Pain, The Substance, and a little film that we've discussed on this podcast called Wicked.
Yeah.
I mean,
because I was like, what are the Oscar movies? Like, what are they? I have no idea. Like, what? But this is kind of giving me like, oh, watch these. This is like the precursor, you know?
Totally. It's because the election sort of dwarfed award season this year a little bit headline wise. I feel like that's why we're not even like as caught up as we normally are.
No, I have a list.
In the coming weeks, we will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have most of these screeners, I think, on the PGA app, and I'm going to start banging them out, as it were. But most importantly for you, Christopher, is that Cynthia and Ariana both did receive nominations.
Of course, as if they weren't going to.
Well, could you have imagined the scandal if one of them had not been nominated?
Yeah. Yes, I can actually, because I know what I would be losing my mind on this podcast.
Speaking of Wicked and speaking of scandal, did you read this next link I sent you? Can you handle it? Because the man who wrote the novel that the Wicked musical is based on.
I hate this. Okay, you tell it and then I'm going to give my opinion.
Okay. Well, apparently in the novel, there's a scene where Elphaba and Galinda kiss. And although it wasn't included in the musical, the author says that it was all part of the plot. So were they from the Isle of Lesbos, as it were? Because that is the implication, I guess, in the novel, which I've never read.
They always do this where it's like 20 million years later. They're like, P.S. they were like gay. Mm-hmm. Like J.K. Rowling did this with Harry Potter. She was like, Dumbledore was gay. And it's like, okay, well, you never said anything about that in the books.
Right. Well, I think it's going to turn out that Dumbledore was trans, and then we're going to have a problem.
I know we're going to have a real problem for her. She's going to have I'm not going to have any problem. She's going to have a problem is actually what's going to happen. But like, do you know what I mean? Like, and it was like, no, you just like didn't have any queer characters and you're trying to like do a grasp at this. And weirdly, I feel like this is the same thing and I don't like it.
Chris DeRosa has spoken. Chris DeRosa, a much more of an expert on Wicked than the man who wrote the novel, because we don't care about you. We only care about the musical and the movie. What's a book? Don't tell Chelsea Devantez we said that, but neither Chris nor I can actually read. It's not even a secret.
Who are we, Leah Michelle? Yeah.
So let's touch on the news. Now, we don't typically do news here unless it sort of like bleeds directly into pop culture. But since everyone's feed is covered with shirtless pictures of healthcare shooter Luigi Mangione shirtless, we should touch on it.
Wicked's over. Wicked's done. Just take it out of theaters because, like, I'm not seeing anything. All I'm seeing is people doing memes, including you, videos, etc., about like how they want to bang this murderer.
Yes, I believe that video I posted is my most viewed TikTok ever. I said violence is never the answer unless he's doing it from behind, honey, because this is a piece of ass. I know it's in poor taste. We all know it's in poor taste, but here's the thing. Even you looked at him and said, maybe internally, oh, yeah, he's hot.
And there's a part of me that was like, no, this person just didn't do this. Like, there's no way in my mind that I'm putting this together.
We never want to think cute people are doing evil things. We don't like that.
However, I just saw a video of him like being taken into the precinct and he's like, no, they're out of touch. Blah, blah. Like, he's like shouting like messages to the press.
This is an insult to the American people.
This is a roller coaster that we just got on that we're going to be on for the next like 3 months.
Happy to hear his voice now. So now when I'm pleasuring myself, I have like more accurate information.
You know, like the AI in your brain can
is that what he sounds
take
like?
Over. Yeah.
Is that what he sounds like? Someone get me a towel. I'll be right back. Give me
Jesus
4 minutes.
I mean, it's like taken over the world.
Yeah. Yep.
It's making me like go back and be like, we are weirdly becoming a monoculture in a way, like on the internet, because all it was Wicked for the last like 3 months. And now all of anything I look at on the internet is truly just pictures of this guy.
The question is, has Ryan Murphy already written a 9-episode
so many
saga?
people
Like, has he already written the ending for how this happens?
Correct. 100%. This will be the next one.
100%. No, once the Menendez brothers get out, if Ryan Murphy has a butthole left after they thank him, Luigi's up next. He's next in line for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And then, okay, the only thing that is like on par with this Luigi guy is what I'm going to say, Ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh. You heard it here first.
Dominic, this is bad.
You regular listeners will know that for weeks, if not months, Christopher Michael DeRosa has been saying that the next shoe in Diddygate was going to be worn by Sean Carter, known to you as Jay-Z, otherwise Mr. Beyonce Knowles. And this week, someone said when she was 13, after the VMAs and the early O's, Jay-Z and Diddy assaulted her, and that there was a female celebrity in attendance watching. Wow.
Yeah. He has come out and been like, did this whole thing that was like, this was blackmail. Why didn't
his denial was extensive and intense. Like, it was like, it's sort of like what you want people to do right away rather than wait.
Yeah. Like he was immediately like, boom, here it is. You try to get money from me. Some of the excuses, he was like, why is this a civil trial and not like a criminal trial? But isn't it like the statute of limitations like denies? I don't know either, but there's like parts of it where I'm like, oh yeah, he's right. But then I'm like, hold on, like, is that even like a real defense of this or not? There's half of me that's like, this is a money grab. And then there's half of me that is like, we kind of all knew this was coming and now it's come.
Right. Now, look, there's nothing funny about sexual assault
at all,
but there is something funny about being on a group chat and trying to predict who the female celebrity was who was a bystander. And in our group chat, it was everyone from Glenn Close to the fucking Olsen.
Well, you went on a roller coaster of like, who's the most unhinged person we can put in this scenario, which
Kathy
is
Bates
horrific.
As Matlock 20 years ago somehow, preparing for the CBS series, watching this assault take place.
And what I'm going to say is that like, I'm kind of shaking in my little boots because I'm like, whoever, like if that female celebrity is named, I feel like it's going to be one of maybe
there's only two
or three people that we know that we're like, uh-oh, and that's going to upheave Hollywood.
It's either going to be Beyonce or J-Lo. I mean, who else? Who else is it going to be?
Allegedly in every single freaking way. This is
allegedly all the way. Although a lawsuit would be great publicity for us.
But like
those Spotify.
I mean, we're like the 17 millionth person to say this, but
yeah.
But like
who is it? Who is it going to be? Like, who else will it be?
I don't know. I was like Lil Kim,
Tempest
or like
Bledsoe. I mean, who's gonna who are we gonna drag out of Mama? Who that was popular then that we haven't heard from?
Tempest Bledsoe. How dare you?
How did that woman fly into my head? The funny thing is, I was going to say Carney Wilson for some reason, and then I think I just started thinking about 90s talk shows.
I'm dying. Tempest Bledsoe.
Let's start that rumor. Everyone go online right now and say, I just heard on Fixing Famous People that Tempest Bledsoe was the bystander female.
Do not do it.
Don't even say, link them directly to Chris's Instagram page, his personal page.
Oh my God.
So yeah, more to come, but Jay-Z has come out fucking swinging. And you know, the lawyer who he's attacking in his statements, the person representing this woman, said literally one line that I was actually thinking was, the lady doth protest too much. Like, he almost went a little too far in his denial, but I'm not a psychologist. I also don't have $1 billion to lose, so I don't know.
I agree with you. And that's the thing is I'm like, oh, you're like really going for this instead of being
Yeah.
like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, how on earth could you ever assume that I would do this? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
he gives it a lot of credence by like having this. But then there were parts where he's like, I have to now sit down my children and tell them blank, blank, blank. And so it was like, that part was good. But I don't know. I'm so conflicted.
Also, that day, like the next day, he and his whole family, his mother-in-law, Blue Ivy, his wife, they all went to the Mufasa premiere. They all walked the red carpet. 50 Cent was like poking fun at them on Twitter, but then deleted his post, either Twitter or Instagram. And just out in full force, the whole family. Obviously, this was already a scheduled event, but they didn't shy away from the cameras. They were all smiles. Blue Ivy is there. She is 12. She looks older than 12, and nobody's going to be sitting down in front of Blue Ivy. She is so tall, she's going to have to sit down when they talk to her so they can look her eye to eye and say, there's greed in the world. She looks older than 12, but she's a beautiful girl. Like, she's popped up so... She's grown up so quickly, it seems like.
She was like so on tour with her mom. She like came out for like multiple... She's like...
And she's like, bigger than that. And that was, 2 years ago? She's so tall. I can't believe how tall. She's easily 6 inches taller than me, which is not saying much, but she's like she's adult height.
I know. And she's like a little girl. She's like not even like a teenager yet. It's
and
crazy.
One more thing on Jay-Z too was that Tina Knowles, who was claiming her account was hacked.
Don't even get me. See, now I'm back on the account. You're liars. You are such liars. It's not even funny. You know what I mean?
So a story popped up that Jay-Z is now being sued with Diddy, and the Tina Knowles Instagram account liked that story when it appeared on another Instagram page. She must have just done it accidentally. I mean, she's obviously not thrilled.
1,000,000%. Yeah,
why not just say that? Yeah. Can't you just say I was scrolling? Do you know how many likes and unlikes I do like on a daily basis when I'm stalking people and I accidentally like something and then I have to go through the trouble of blocking them and unblocking them.
And also to erase the like. The other thing is like there are some people that I like don't agree with that I like follow to like keep eyes on what they're saying. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you went through my followers, you'd be like, this person is like a QAnon nutcase. And I'd be like, no, I just like am keeping an eye out on certain people. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you'd be like, that's weird. And I'd be like, it is weird because I'm fascinated by how much of a lunatic this person is. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like if I would like one of their things accidentally, it's not because I like agree with what do you know what I'm like?
Yeah, I follow George Santos on X. I don't like anything about that queen. Like, of course.
Yes, of course. But I'm saying like liking an Instagram post is not like a political statement.
No.
Like she's not happy that he went to like that's not a story to me.
I got hacked, and that's the only thing that like if you hack Tina Knowles' account, you're just gonna like that one thing.
Yeah,
if I'm pretending to be Tina Knowles, I'm gonna pretend to flirt with 50 Cent in a DM. I'm gonna go hog wild. Like I'm not just gonna like the story.
Yeah. You want to see a headline? I'll give you a headline.
Yeah.
Correct. But it is horrific. Let's say that we've now had our fun with it, but like. Believe women.
Of course.
And like,
so what do you do? I mean, I don't know. You got to hear, we got to.
At one point, Hassan and I looked at each other and I was like, that person that was in that room might have been Beyonce. And we like both had to look at each other and we were like, that will wreck us. Like, you know what I mean? Right. Like that would shatter us. But like, and we kind of were like, well, we just have to keep living our lives now. And like, just know that that's a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, it was either Beyonce or possibly Felicia Rashad. I mean, who could it have been?
Tempest Bledsoe,
anyway, since all stories in pop culture now connect to Diddy's dick, Jamie Foxx's special, the trailer has dropped and it's coming out in a few days, clearing up the rumor that Diddy, who, I don't... I'm mad that he has a nickname because he's a criminal and a psychopath and he shouldn't be referred to as anything cute. But the internet is now taken to calling him the Diddler, which I can't get out of my head.
Which is longer than Diddy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, like you have to take more time to type that out than Diddy.
But Jamie Foxx disappeared last year, the year before, because he had a brain bleed that led to a stroke. He was not, as had been erroneously reported, or
poisoned,
postulated on this podcast and on Joe Rogan and in a million other places that Diddy poisoned him. That didn't happen. And he actually addresses that in the special, that people thought he poisoned him.
He's like, I was not poisoned by Diddy.
No, and he said because he always left those parties by 9 o'clock because it looked like slippery shit was happening, and that wasn't his scene.
Incredible.
Yep. So good for you. I mean, until someone says he's lying, but I get the feeling he's not. I really do get the feeling he's not. Speaking of the diddler, apparently he requested access to a laptop in prison so he could assist his defense. Yeah, it was an absolute no. What do you get?
So you can email people and like give them death threats that you've been already doing in jail? Yeah.
No. Also, you're in jail. You don't get to use anything. A can opener, a calculator. You should barely even be touching yourself while you're in there. I think that's even illegal. Don't. A laptop. This guy out of his fucking mind. All right, moving right along. The end of an Eras. The Eras tour after what feels like 11 years is finally over. Tay-Tay going to enjoy the holidays with Kelsey Grammer, and I would imagine an engagement is imminent.
Right.
It's over. The tour is over, and she said she's exhausted and grateful and all this stuff.
I'm exhausted for her.
Sure. I mean, the tour it grossed a record. I mean, $2 billion is what this tour made.
But also, it's been going on for 2 years.
Yeah, the movie dropped a year ago. I didn't even really know until recently this fucking thing was still going on. So God bless her. It's like, after you've seen the movie, you're going to go see it again live. And I'm questioning that. I know there are super fans. The average ticket for this concert was $1,000.
I mean, that's how she grossed $2 billion. They're like, you're paying your rent money to like go see her.
Our friend Rebecca saw this concert twice. I had no idea Rebecca was that wealthy. She must be eating Fabergé eggs and bacon for breakfast every day. Yeah. Who knew? We should take a loan from Rebecca if we want to do this full time and not work.
I truly need to know like when the first concert was and then the last one was now. Like, you know what I mean? The end of 2024. I want to say that the last one was in like the beginning of 2022. She's been doing this for 2 full years. I think
so. Yeah, I think so.
So no wonder it made $2 billion.
Because she's released like 2 albums during this time, hasn't she?
Oh, I think 3.
Oh, because one of them was one of those redos.
Am I wrong? Maybe. I have no idea. Everyone is screaming at us. We have no idea.
They can keep screaming. We're not a fact-based podcast.
But like, 1, no shit, it made so much money. She's been doing it forever. And 2, the tickets were so expensive. Of course, it made a lot of money.
Can you please open up our next story properly? The next one on the list.
Britney watch.
Oh, baby. Hi, y'all. Britney went on the gram this week and in one of her nonsensical monologues. She has a new car that she doesn't know what kind of car it is. She just knows that it drives by itself.
Piece of shit. Like, she just goes, I'm in some piece of shit. I think
a Corolla, like a cheap Corolla, she called it. Insulting all of her middle class to lower income fans, and said she's in a car that drives itself. In the meantime, I don't even think that car drives itself. I think that she just probably put her foot on the gas and doesn't know why it's moving forward because she's a nut job. Love you though, really do.
Love her.
Anyway, she said she's moving to Mexico to escape the cruel paparazzi. The Hollywood Reporter quickly releases an article that says she's not moving to Mexico. She's
her agent is like, no.
She's here in LA. Yeah. So if you were afraid that you wouldn't run into her at the Coffee Bean, you still can. Don't worry about it.
Guys, like, don't believe anything she says. Guys, like, we know better than this. Like, she's going to say all this weird stuff, and then the next day she's going to wake up and just be Britney. So,
right. No, they comment on TikTok, why do we hate? We should back off on her. Why do we hate women? Like, gay people don't hate women. Gay men don't hate women.
I pray for this woman every day at noon.
Literally, we have a prayer chain. We have candles for her. We have a prayer chain. No one hates women. I think she needs to have someone looking at her money. The general public disagrees with me.
And let's not forget, the reason that she's free is because 2 podcasters were nervous about her Instagram and started digging, by the way. So they were keeping tabs and she was in a mental institution. So
we're the podcasters that'll probably get her put back.
Put her back in there.
We question every move that she's making.
No, listen, I'm not though. She's like, oh, I'm moving to Mexico. It's like, okay, no, she's not. Like, we know she's not. She's going to go to Mexico and go to that weird spa that she was at with her brother and then like have a fun time and then come home. Britney's living.
Go for it, girl. Go for it. Don't hurt yourself. Just do what you want to do.
She's good. She's good, guys.
Speaking of leaving, It's the strongest segue I could come up with here. This next story, Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly just announced a few weeks ago that she was pregnant, and now they are splitting up.
Nice. They're volatile. I can just
clearly.
They're like, to quote what's his name?
Well, you could say whatever you want now if you're not
John
gonna name the
Mayer.
person.
To quote John Mayer, they're sexual napalm for each other.
I'm sure they are.
I just see it. I feel it energetically, physically, mentally, emotionally. I feel it.
They're bonkers people, obviously, and they'll probably get back together. But divorce or not, their friends or their anonymous sources are saying that they want this baby and they're very excited about it. So look, perhaps they're just very evolved. Like maybe they just understood that they can have a baby together, but they don't want to be life partners. I don't know. We don't know what went on there.
They got in a fight. They got in a fight.
You think they jumped the gun by saying they're splitting up and that they're not?
Or like someone leaked this, or someone leaked it or something. I bet you.
Or maybe by the next episode of our podcast, they will be like, "We were hacked.
We were hacked. Like
we didn't actually. We're not actually splitting up.
We were hacked.
Hacked.
I wanted. That's going to be my excuse for something.
For everything, I was hacked.
They're like, you hit me with your car. I was hacked.
Speaking of breakups, Sabrina Carpenter and Barry Keoghan,
whatever his name is, sure.
You know who he is from
Saltburn.
From Saltburn, and from the Colin Farrell one that he was nominated for an Oscar for.
Yeah, the Banshees of Inisherin.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that movie.
He, like Benedict Cumberbatch, is one of those people who, like, every second he changes from absolutely gorgeous to physically hideous, but he's mostly gorgeous. It just depends on what lens you're looking at him through. I didn't even know he was dating Sabrina Carpenter. I guess they dated for a year. They recently broke up. And because rumors of him cheating on her circulated the internet, he's had to, like, deactivate his socials or curtail them. And he's incredibly pissed about it and released a statement saying, like, I have a kid and my kid's going to read this shit someday. And the shit you're writing is not true. Mind your own fucking business. It's just, you know, the internet's a brutal place. And if you're going to be famous, you got to be ready for people to just do what they're doing to you, Barry. I like both of these people, especially him. I think he's a super talented actor. And I didn't know he was dating Sabrina Carpenter, but whatever. They seem like they were a cute couple. I wish I'd known they were dating. I would have been in full support of it.
Yeah, like cared. Yeah. They're the celebrity. To me, that's like two celebrities who are like, we're getting famous at the same time, so we should date. And it's like that situation, which those never last. So,
or I think too that they were probably at a level of fame where they were like, I can't date a normie now, so I'm attracted to you, so let's do this. I think celebrities can date a normie, but I think they have to be celebrities for a while before that happens. Correct. I think like once you start getting famous, if you're single, you can't just like bring someone along for the ride. It's pretty
and that person has to be like signed up for that, like ready to,
Speaking of a situation like this, I loved this. Amy Robach and TJ Lutelius Holmes, the whores of Good Morning America, as we like to call them. Good Horning America.
That is what,
their exes are still dating. It's still I fucking love that. I love that. They were photographed at a party. Andrew Shue and Lutelius's ex-wife, whose name is escaping me at the moment.
Merrily.
Thank you. They are all smiles, arm in arm.
And they're hotter than the two of them. Am I weird to say that? They look
hotter.
like regular people, but they're two hotties.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that the exes dating is making Amy and TJ's romance years longer than it needs to be.
And they are like furious that this is an article. Like they're so mad.
Absolutely furious about it. There's no doubt.
Like they're like, God fucking damn it. And he like throws his phone across the room. Do you know what I mean? Like they're like freaking out.
I think if the exes weren't dating, Amy and TJ would have broken up this year.
Years ago. Yeah, like the month after it all happened. Yeah. Oh, God.
But good for them. I mean, absolutely good for them.
Amy's husband, ding dong, is what I'm going to say.
What do you mean?
Like he's hot.
Andrew Shue. Oh, yeah. He's always been gorgeous. He's been gorgeous since people my age were pleasuring ourselves to him on Melrose Place. Like he shot right out of the gate on that show. And he's just he's aging so gorgeously too. Like he's such a handsome older man.
And then this Marilee is like, she's so pretty and like very natural, but like hot. Like she's that like New York hot bitch that's like, I'm like, I don't wear all this bullshit ass makeup like Amy does. And I'm like hot, but I'm still just like, I don't have like Kardashian hair. Do you know what I mean? It's
she
like
looks
very,
like she could be on the new Roni. She sort of got like that sort of glow about her.
Yes, that New York vibe.
Yeah. Whereas, not like old frosted tips over here with Lutellius. You know what I mean? I don't even know. I don't even know why I have such a bad taste in my mouth about them. I really
They're
don't,
just well, because they were like, we're dating and we're both complete alcoholics. Never forget remember they were saying like they had like 14 drinks a day and they were like saying that so openly. Like that's why we feel this way about them, Dom.
Well, they're both in good shape. So I think the lesson here is you can drink 14 drinks a day and still be on television and have a cinched waist. So
yeah,
I think that all the programs have been lying to you. Before we go today and get on to fixing Mr. Zac Efron, the ruby slippers. I know there's a couple of pairs of these things. The ruby slippers from The Wizard of Oz up for auction this week and sold, gather yourself, for $28 million.
Why am I not surprised? I don't know.
I'm not surprised, but also stop. Like if you're, I don't know who bought it, even if you're like a hedge fund firm or whatever, and you're just using it, if you have that much money to throw around on a movie prop, especially when there are other pairs of them, feed some fucking people, man. Jesus Christ.
Of course.
Jesus Christ.
Of course, but that's not what we're here to do.
$28 million for the
That's not
slippers.
what any of these people know. Because when you think about it, I regard The Wizard of Oz as like the quintessential American film.
It sure is.
Like, you know what I mean? Right. And then
there's no denying that.
The ruby slippers are the most famous part of that movie.
But nothing in the greatest film of all time should cost $28 million. For $28 million, I should click those heels and end up in Oz as the fucking wizard for $28 million, for God's sakes.
True.
Give me a break.
No, you're right. Did you see the thing about the banana? Did you see the banana thing?
Yeah, yes.
Like that's even, which I loved because it was like, look, like you're spending all this money on something that's going to decompose. Like, Art is a scam. Art is a scam, everyone. It's a way that people wash money. If you didn't know by now you know. Someone's washing a shitload of money with this $28 million.
I agree with you. I think more of that has to do with modern art than with the classics. I mean, the classics are traded way too expensively as well.
It has nothing to do with the actual art itself. It has to do with the process of buying artwork.
Right. Yes and no. I mean, there's a lot of modern art that I think is a scam right out the gate. Because it's just utterly like, this is a
NFTs, remember them?
Mm-hmm. I will be in Chicago this week and I'll be going to the museum to see My Sunday in the Park with George, picture Le Grand Jot, the George Seurat painting, which is my favorite. Every year when I go to Chicago, I swing by the museum to see it again because it's magic. And I love a giant, meaty piece of pointillism, especially one that inspired one of the greatest musicals of all time. So for those of you who have the Apple subscription and will be tuning into the a la carte, we will be talking about Tori Spelling regretting getting her family involved with reality television.
Oh, brother.
Harvey Weinstein's attorneys. I don't care that I'm laughing at this. They're like, he's going to die in Rikers. And the world's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Mary getting a new Mary. Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence's children. Two of them are marrying each other. TV viewership is up. And Scrubs, thank goodness, getting a reboot.
Oh, brother.
I think we already know my opinion about that and Chris's, and we'll expand on that nastiness on the a la carte. And we will fix one Zac Efron after these vital messages.
Okay, this is an OG Clistener that has been in my inbox for basically the whole time that we've had this podcast. She is an up-and-coming comic in Canada.
That's right.
Which is international.
Canadian.
Much to Dominick's disagreement, international, clinternational guest. She's been seen at Giggle Fest in Montreal. She's been seen at Laugh Riot Comedy Girl Festival in LA and Uptown Comedy Festival in upstate New York. She is Jennifer Brigden. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Woo! We were supposed to do an episode like over a year ago, and then
over a year? Oh my god.
Shit got fucking wild, and like I eventually was like, How dare I do this to you? Please come on this show. Let's talk about someone fun. And here we are.
I do remember. I desperately wanted to do the Tori Spelling episode, and I don't remember who you looked for that, but it was someone incredible. But
it was Kelsey. It was like our podcast mother. So it was like,
but you have to bet me. You have to bet me. But Tori Spelling, I used to work for a Canadian charity, and Tori Spelling's husband went to one of our events and was a guest judge and fucked a waitress.
Oh, because Dean's Canadian.
You fucked a waitress at the event.
No.
This huge, it was like the closest Canada's ever got to a pop culture like scandal. Anyways, so that's my.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's my. I wrote in and was like, "Can I just call in and do this little clip?"
So all the stories are true.
All the stories are true, and it was like, it was great. It was great.
God, fucked a waitress at a charity event.
I know, and for a while, this was a while ago. I was in the marketing department. I had like a budget to go by People magazine and like make sure we weren't being mentioned.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Wow! Wow!
Big day. Not like the most exciting gossip story, but pretty exciting. But yes,
love your podcast. For this podcast, it is 100%.
Honestly, he's not even in the top 1,000 most shameful celebrities in our country.
No,
like the fact that he's top 10 for you guys speaks volumes for.
Thank you. We're not an interesting country.
Stay that way.
Yeah, for real.
I appreciate it.
Well, speaking of interesting celebrities,
I think you were saying uninteresting.
Today,
we are tasked with fixing Zac Efron. At the beginning of each broadcast, we ask our guest, and Christopher, to guess the middle name of the person we're fixing. Jennifer, before we begin, do you already know Zac Efron's middle name?
I do not.
Okay, great. She knows better than to Google it. She knows better. She wants to have the real experience when she's here, right?
I want to be a part of it. I've been anticipating.
Okay.
I will let you know this information about Zachary Efron. Those are his legal first and last names, not a change, perhaps a change in spelling from Zachary to Zach with just a C. Okay. He is born October 18th, 1987. He is 37 years of age and is a Libra. And he grew up in Arroyo Grande, California. Now, this is normally the moment when I say, what is Zac Efron's middle name? But this week, a twist.
He doesn't have one.
What are Zachary Efron's two middle names?
Oh.
Clistery has already been made on this podcast.
Clistery in the making, baby.
Clistery has been made.
That's
Christopher, Jennifer, whichever one of you wants to jump in there. Christopher usually goes first. What are Zachary Efron's middle names?
God, wow, it's going to be so much harder. Okay.
I know.
When I was letting my intuition take over, the first names that came to my mind are mine and Dominick's middle names, Michael and Anthony. And so I think I'm just going to go. And I know that it's something normal. It's not like Lutelius or like something ridiculous. Like it is white ass male names. I know it. Like Scott or something. I'm going to do Zachary, Michael, Anthony, Efron.
Okay.
Jennifer?
You just listed off like half my relatives. Is one of the names... No, I'm not going to ask for a hint. I'm just going to go for it. There's like 5 names for white guys in their 30s. Yeah. And half of them are like from the Bible.
And 2 of them I already used. Yeah.
And 2 of them you already used. So I'm going to go Zachary, Matthew.
Beautiful.
David. What's his last name? Efron. Zachary.
Okay.
Matthew, David.
Beautiful guess. Beautiful guess.
So, Chris, your guesses are Michael Anthony.
Yes.
And Jennifer, your guesses are Matthew David.
Matthew David.
I will tell you.
We're both right.
No. You can't both be right.
Yes.
I will tell you.
We each have one.
Of the 4 names pitched, only one of them is one of his middle names.
Okay, we still did it.
His name is Zachary blank Alexander Efron.
Okay.
In that blank is the name David. Zachary David Alexander Efron.
I said beautiful guess.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That counts.
Thank you.
It does count. You've won. You've won.
Oh my God.
Now, the bad news is
Alexander.
the prize was just my saying you won. Like in its
That's okay.
entirety, that's it.
I'm fine with that. I am so
Alexander
excited.
is also my confirmation name.
David is?
No, Alexander is.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now
Not that I
learned something.
ever bring it up or it's illegally my name at all, but it is my confirmation name.
Is
Just saying.
confirmation
Wait,
name not a middle name?
I think I'm about to blow your mind if we've never discussed this
Is yours
before.
also Alexander?
No, my confirmation name is Christopher.
Oh, no, I think we did know that.
We
I
have
think knew
discussed
that.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
All right.
Yeah. We're two Italians. I'm so sorry.
I
Okay.
know. God, I wish yours was Dominic.
It's like-
You should change it. Can you get
when-
reconfirmed and have it be Dominic so you could be Christopher?
Yeah, I
Michael
should get
Dominic?
reconfirmed. I should get reconfirmed, honestly. It's basically in the Catholic Church, you like pick when you become like a man and your confirmation is kind of like your bar mitzvah.
Like when you were a boy and you okay.
Yeah, like it's like your bar mitzvah, but the confirmation is like less fun and more serious. And you like
You
don't
pick
have
a
a
middle
party.
name.
You don't have a party, but you pick a new name that is like your second middle name, basically.
And you get to pick it? Like
you get to
the
pick it, but
kid
it should be
gets to
after.
pick
It's
it?
supposed to be after a saint. Yeah. Anyway,
It's like a bar mitzvah, but without all the money. It's
yeah, and like no more,
basically it.
and like it's
no
not
one
as
gives
fun.
a shit.
There's
Yeah.
no party.
No.
So
your mom isn't showing up with her middle-aged tits spilling out as her last hurrah for all the Instagram pictures. It's not like that.
I think that does happen in the Catholic Church from time to time.
It
I
sure
don't
does.
know.
It sure does. It happened in my Catholic church.
But enough about Father Frank.
So Zac Efron, I mean, obviously the first place to go is High School Musical.
And
That's where
that is the first place you should go. He did, he was an actor in high school. It was either an acting coach or an agent that sort of pushed him toward Hollywood. Obviously, he was beautiful, got signed at CAA. He did a couple of guest starring roles. I'm trying to think of anything of note here as I'm looking at this list. ER, heard of it. He was still guest star in that role. And then what I didn't know, because I thought he was born on High School Musical, but he appeared in a WB series called Summerland, unless it's pronounced Summerland, and I'm hoping it is.
That's like ringing a bell.
So this was in 2004. So now we're going back 20 years when he would be actually 17. And he was a recurring character in the first season and then was a regular cast member in the second season. But then the turning point obviously was, and it's so funny because in my weed-addled brain, I thought that High School Musical was a series. It was not. It was a series of movies.
It was
Movies.
right. But it was on TV, right?
Disney Channel, right.
Yeah.
In January 2006, his life and all of our lives would change forever.
Correct.
With High School Musical.
We're all in this together. Yeah.
And he played the male lead, Troy Bolton, and then spent 5 years. I'm saying this only as a visual objective. I am not casting aspersions or judgment on anything. He spent the better part of the next 3 years looking like a cast member of the L Word. I'm sorry. It's just
100%.
the shaggy hair, the clean skin, the sculpted
It's like
eyebrows.
the Justin
I don't
Bieber.
know. I don't know
Yeah.
who I'm looking at here. I don't.
Yes.
I
yes.
don't.
Correct.
Beautiful, carved from a wheel of Philadelphia cream cheese gorgeousness. This was truly America's sweetheart. Troy Bolton, Zac Efron. I have never seen any of these. What I do know is that in between the first and second one, he ended up landing the role of Link Larkin in the new version of Hairspray. Then did the second version, the second High School Musical 2. And then a year later, he appeared in the final in the High School Musical trilogy called High School Musical 3, Senior Year, which of the three was the only one to be released theatrically. And obviously it was a huge hit despite mixed reviews.
I mean, in High School Musical, I feel like was a thing that not only were they all immediately launched into like a humongous amount of fame out of absolutely nowhere, but it really was that thing for like people a little bit younger than me. It was their Disney, like we had the Lizzie McGuire movie and like we had like on Disney at that time, we had all those like those little movies that we all love, but they weren't huge successes. Like this was a colossal juggernaut for Disney Channel at the time.
I feel like the High School Musical movies were it's a shorter period of time, but it reminds me of the Spice Girls sort of, where
Correct.
it was like just everywhere for just a couple of years, and then it went away. And unless you were alive and into it at that time, you just don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I was a full-grown double adult by the time these movies came out, so that's why I'd never seen any of them. But I knew that like my nieces and nephews and my younger cousins were just obsessed.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm surprised it was just 3 movies. Their level of obsession made me believe there was much more content than what was out.
But because of Disney, it was like so much extra shit.
Right.
There was like all this other stuff. And then there was this, and then they did this appearance, and then they did that appearance, and then there was merch, and then there was notebooks, there was folders, there was, you know, it was very like the precursor to Glee in a lot of ways. Like it crawled so that Glee could run. Does that make sense?
100%. Not only does it make sense, I mean, I feel like you saying that, I feel like that was almost like a matter of fact. I don't know if Ryan Murphy would come out and say that, but I feel like that was the intention. I mean, I think High School Musical gave birth to Glee culturally. I mean, I don't know that Glee would have existed without it. It feels
because it literally is the same plot, the whole, right?
Yeah.
Like High School Musical is like the star basketball player like wants to be in the theater, and like what are they gonna do? And then that's truly and clitorally the first season of Glee is like the quarterback of the football team can sing.
Right. Now, if we were to make either of these projects today, by episode 3, everyone would be screaming if that boy wasn't gay. So I don't like, this is why both of these characters would have been. It seems on paper like he did everything right. Like, you know, it's sort of like following the High School Musicals is like Daniel Radcliffe following Harry Potter. Like, what do you do? So,
and like Hairspray was humongous,
and
like,
was right in the middle of it.
Yeah. Like he then was like, oh, I can be in a real movie, like not just in this Disney Channel bullshit that I'm doing. Do you know what I mean?
Then went on to appear in after the post High School Musical career.
What was his like first
17 thing? Again?
Yeah.
Where he was, and do you remember the 37-year-old man who he was playing trapped in his 17-year-old body? R.I.P. Matthew Perry was the adult in that movie.
Really?
He was playing adult Matthew Perry trapped in child Zac Efron's
like
body.
big, or not big, reverse big is what it is, right?
Yes. Yeah, basically, yeah.
Or 13 going on 30. No, that's also big, isn't it?
I don't know. Who's
is
in
she
that?
A child in 13 going on 30? Or does she become a child?
Oh, no. You're right. Sorry. Yes, she becomes big. She is the child, and then she becomes an adult.
Because she is 13.
She becomes the child.
She is 13.
I thought that was the name of Drew Barrymore's autobiography, 13 going on 30.
That was her when the club. Yeah.
DeClurb. But he seemed to do everything right. Like he did, that movie was, you know, something of note.
Yeah.
Then he started working, and I didn't see this, but I remember hearing about it. He did a movie, a Richard Linklater movie called Me and Orson Welles.
Yes.
And I can't even give you like the details of what it was about, but I remember him specifically getting positive reviews for it. And then he just went on to do a bunch of hit or miss stuff like most people do. He was in New Year's Eve, which was like following the whole Valentine's Day film formula. It was like,
it was still big. It
was a hit, but it was savaged but it was still a hit.
Was it a hit? I don't know if it was a hit.
It was. It was like, it was negatively reviewed, but it was a pretty big hit when it came out.
I think the other thing about it is that it had humongous stars in it. Like he was seen as a big star because his name was being added to this list of like, because isn't like Taylor Swift in New Year's Eve?
Yes.
I think she might be.
Or like, and like Leah Michele is in it. Like, right? I feel like I watched it a million years ago. But like, it is like an ensemble cast of big stars. So it like, it is showing that it's proving that he's famous.
Then he was in a Lee Daniels movie in 2012 with our favorite Nicole Kidman called The Paperboy. So he's acted with Nicole on more than one occasion, but this, I believe, was their first time together in The Paperboy. Oh, maybe they haven't acted together again since then.
They absolutely have.
They have. There's some sort of May December movie recently, right? That they might have been in.
Family Affair.
Thank you.
That's new. That's like brand new.
Brand new.
And they're like banging each other the whole time, right?
Yeah. And it's amazing.
Now, I remember in 2014, he did a hilarious movie called Neighbors, which was about Was that Seth Rogen and
Yes.
and Rose Byrne? They moved next door to a fraternity house and sort of playing to type, I guess. Like he was just playing like Caucasian douchebag, which I'm not saying I have no indication he is one in real life, but he plays one really well. And it was, I saw that movie multiple times, actually. It was really hilarious. And he sort of branched out. Don't forget him with the boner in the toilet for Dirty Grandpa. Remember that visual where he's like, he has an erection and he's like planking over the toilet. So he's fully naked, but you can't see his dick because it's pointing in the toilet.
I don't remember this at all.
Oh yeah, that was a pause.
But I will watch it.
Dirty Grandpa with Robert De Niro played the Dirty Grandpa.
Well, and around like Neighbors level is when he does his like, I'm sexy now thing.
Yeah.
That's like, there's paparazzi photos of him on a beach and like his body is like the most coveted body in the world. Like it's like he is like jacked beyond belief. He is like tight muscle.
Because Baywatch. Because the next big thing after Neighbors was Baywatch.
But I think it was before Baywatch even. Like it was like he was like, I'm a man now and I'm
That's Dirty Grandpa. That's what you're thinking
Okay.
of because there's a scene on the yes, that's exactly what you're thinking of because
he's like, I'm not Troy Bolton anymore. I'm like laying pipe.
And he was naked on the beach or simulated naked on the beach. And like Perez and all these other sites, I remember ran all the behind the scenes photos of him wearing like a flesh colored bathing suit because he wasn't naked in real life. But that's exactly what you're thinking of. Now I remember it.
He's jacked in everything. He's jacked in Neighbors too. Like at the
He
end
is.
of Neighbors, he becomes like a model or something. Like in the plot, like he's
around that. Yeah. In that time is like when he gets like an adult body and we
gets
see him as like a
super hot.
real sex symbol.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like 17 again, he was like, I can be an actor now. And like, yes, he was cute, but like this was like every girl has like a poster of him on his wall and it's like him with no clothes on. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that to me is like the star turn, the like rumors, Lindsay Lohan, the like can't be tamed Miley Cyrus, where it's like, I'm rejecting Disney Channel and becoming a sex symbol thing.
Sure.
Right.
And so he did Neighbors, he did Baywatch, and then the most marquee thing he did right after that, and I totally forgot about this, but he played Ted Bundy in Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile. And I forgot.
Oh, I didn't even know this.
That it was on Netflix and he played Ted Bundy and it released in tandem with Netflix does this quite a bit actually, which is not coincidental, but that was released around the same time as a documentary about Ted Bundy where there were tapes and stuff.
Yeah.
So they were sort of running in tandem, like happens with the Menendez miniseries and all this other stuff. So he got good notices for that as well. And it was not really considered stunt casting because Ted Bundy, for all intents and purposes, his charm and good looks was part of the reason he was able to prey on all of these women. And so he sort of seemed like a natural choice and got good notices for it.
And he was in The Greatest Showman.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Like, which was big. I mean, regardless of what you think of it, it was a humongous movie.
It was a big movie. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like other things. I'm looking through his other stuff.
I would just like to go on record that Baywatch is amazing.
The movie.
Is it good?
The movie is it's ridiculous and it makes no sense. But at one point, they all swim under fire to get to a yacht.
Sure.
Which is what you need. What you need in a movie.
Yeah. Sure.
It makes no sense.
I'm sure the camera's like underneath them, like, and you see the fire above them.
100% fires above them. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Excellent. And they're not shirtless as much as you think they will be, considering how good of shape they had to be in that movie. It's like a weird, I don't know, modern take on Baywatch where they're actually just wearing shirts a lot. But it is.
They're not just running in slow motion with their heaving breasts flying around. Yeah.
Well,
I like a movie that makes no sense, and Baywatch makes no sense.
Yeah, sure.
Isn't
Priyanka Chopra like the villain of that movie?
She is the villain of that movie, though it's unclear what she's doing to be villainous, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Zachary has been sober since June of 2013.
Okay.
He struggles with alcoholism and substance abuse. I bring this up because I think part of the reason why he ended up in our inbox is this series of like medical emergencies that he's been having. So obviously everyone goes right away to like drugs and alcohol. We can't speak to it in either direction, but there was something that happened in November of 2013. I don't remember this. Apparently he fell at home and had to have his jaw wired shut.
Well, Dominic, this is the problem. This is why he's on the list.
Yeah.
Because they say, and this is why he's here, because he shows up on a red carpet like 2 years ago or like a year ago, and everyone's like, what the fuck happened to Zac Efron's face?
Okay.
He looks completely different. Mm-hmm. He has this big, huge jaw. His the shape of his skull is different. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, and then seemingly he has lip filler, ? I would go as far to say that it looks like he has lip filler. And people are like, what is wrong with Zac Efron? Like, that's why people were sending it to us being like, put him on the list, because he shows up looking wild facially. And at first the reports are like, he was in a horrible car accident and was like hospitalized and his face broke and they had to like reconstruct his face. No, and like his jaw now looks like this because of this horrible car accident.
Not true. We would have known about it.
Then they say, which I'm like, yeah, to that, I'm like, every single one, the minute he was in a car accident and was being like life flighted to a hospital, someone would have leaked that Zac Efron was like possibly dying.
No one's keeping that a secret.
It would be all over the news. Pictures of the car would be on the news. Like, it would be on people.com. It would be everywhere. We would know about it.
Well, if it was on people.com, we certainly would.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like every gossip rag would be like, Zac Efron's like in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We would all know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then no one's they're like, we have no proof that this accident happened. Like, we don't believe you. Then apparently the story comes out that he's like, he was at home and he was running with socks on and he slipped on his socks and he fell face first onto like a granite corner of a countertop or something. And his jaw got busted open that way. And then they had to rewire it shut. And then like now that's why he looks different. And needed to get lip filler because his jaw got ruined. And so he needed lip filler.
Well, I'll tell you this. I can't speak for the rest of his face, but that jaw sculpting moment, like when he came out, I will tell you that so many people, some celebrities, most of them not, in New York and LA, and by people, I mean gay men. And I'm not accused. I do not believe Zac Efron is gay. But that surgery, it's injectable, was very popular. I'm just going to say, not this past summer, but the summer before, it was sort of peaking where like a lot of people were getting it.
Sure.
We were starting in bars to sort of like come up with like square jaw nicknames for all these people. Like it was sort of like the haircut everyone was getting, but it was their jaw, like it was the new faux hawk, was sort of like, I'm going to look like Thing from Fantastic Four from the bottom lip to my chin. And it just became very popular. I assumed that that's what he did. I just assumed that he took a couple of procedures.
No, it's 100% what he did. Like, it's not even, I'm not even up for discussion that he was either in a car accident or fell and like broke his face open. Mm-hmm. Right, Jennifer? Like, it has to be that.
I think the crazy part is that he did an interview, like, I want to say, I just read it. It was like 2022. And he said that this accident happened, but he has also said that the accident happened in 2013. So It was like, that's a lot of time. That's in all of the movies that we have talked about. He actually had this like post, I was running from no one in my house and smashed his face. And he said that he smashed his face on a granite fountain in his house. And I just want to say that if you're going to choose some weird rich person granite shit to have in your house,
correct,
choose anything but a fountain, because it sounds deranged.
No, it sounds horrible.
What is
the?
I just want to hear. You want to know something worse?
And it's probably ugly.
It was a chocolate fountain.
It was a chocolate. Dominic.
It was a chocolate fountain. It was at a Viennese table. He has a separate room in his house for dessert.
I feel strongly that we need to see the Architectural Digest tour of this insane house.
Jennifer, correct.
Anything.
We need an open doors. Sure. We need an open doors like it was motherfucking yesterday, where he opens the door and is like, "Hello, Architectural Digest. Here is the granite chocolate fountain that I ruined my
This is
face
dessert
on.
room. Yeah, thanks.
Correct.
This is the living room. This is the dessert room. We don't go in here anymore since I fell on the chocolate fountain. That's where the granite was chipped and my chin hit it.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
Jennifer, you are factually correct with these. These are not even allegations of how he's recalling it. In November of 2013, he had to have his jaw wired shut after breaking it in a fall at home. He revealed in 2022 that he almost died during that incident and that was what was responsible for his facial swelling in a viral 2021 video for Bill Nye's Earth Day musical.
No, what?
I'm telling you that I'm almost reading word for word from the wiki page now. Like this face thing had to be like 3 years ago because remember he started doing, what was the adventure? He did an adventure series called.
Oh, it was the worst thing I've ever watched on Netflix.
But that was when he turned from like twink to bear, right? Like that was when he started that series. We were like, Zac Efron has hair on his face and his chest, and I'm touching myself involuntarily.
Sure,
like,
yes,
how is this
correct.
happening? Zac Efron is a man, and now we're allowed to do this.
As him and what's her name, Anna Kendrick, like drink different kinds of water and are like, water. And it's like, I'm like, why on earth am I watching this?
Well,
I remember.
He won an Emmy for that show.
That's
he won a daytime Emmy.
a
for
crime.
He won a daytime Emmy for Down to Earth.
That was the dumbest show I've ever watched in my life.
I have watched only a little bit of it, but like deep into season 2, they have an episode where they all realize that they shouldn't be using plastic water bottles. And I was like, this is 2 seasons of a television show. It's entirely about saving the planet. And you just got here.
Yes.
You just figured this out.
Here's my take on Zachary David Alexander Efron.
Okay.
My take is that because he is a man, he probably doesn't talk as much or get as much attention about the problems of being young and hot in Hollywood and having to stay that way. And I'm not trying to be too serious, but like I'm reading other stuff where in interviews after the whole, I guess can we call it Facegate without people being too mean?
Yes.
After Facegate in an interview, again, this is on the wiki page, he talked in 2022 about he was a vegan. Then he started intermittent fasting, reintroduced meat into his diet because he was having food sensitivity issues, which can be caused by a number of other factors. He also revealed that he struggled with mental illness, which is an umbrella under which he has insomnia, agoraphobia, depression, and he developed insomnia and depression after taking diuretics to prepare for his role in Baywatch.
Yeah, that's not good.
It was worth it.
She's like worth every single penny.
Like 100% worth it.
I'm very sorry that you ruined your life, right?
Yeah,
I'm
my
sorry
enjoyment.
That the course of your life was altered for my spank bank, but that's the price you pay for the life you choose. ZDAE.
But like even in Baywatch, like I'm looking at photos, like he looks great. Like he doesn't look like this like plumped up and like his.
So your message is we should all be taking diuretics?
No.
Okay.
You don't?
I've been eating this entire podcast.
I'm saying
facially.
I'm saying facially, like he has different lips than he does in Baywatch is in 2017. Like the thing that I'm watching of this year on his IMDb, it is like, again, like his lips are different lips. Like he got lip fillers.
But if we follow the timeline of his saying, I was running through my house in socks from nobody and fell into my chocolate granite fountain.
Yeah.
That is his changed jaw. His Baywatch jaw is like 4 or 5 years.
I know, but we've seen him in
so many things. And
it doesn't make any sense.
I think he suffers from what historians will just call Madonna syndrome, which is just like, why'd you do that? You didn't need to. You were aging just fine. You still stop doing it. Have someone around you to tell you to stop.
If he's going through all these problems, maybe he's like, oh no, I'm getting older. I'm not this little twin. Like everyone still loves him as like
right?
Troy Bolton. And he's like, I'm not Troy Bolton. I look in the mirror and I see a man, not Troy Bolton. And now like, what am I going to do? I mean, it's exactly like every Madonna / Marilyn Monroe-esque celebrity that's like lauded for their beauty is like, oh no, I'm getting older. I need to get a whole new face. And we're all like, no, don't.
Isn't it crazy? Because all of us normies will look in the mirror trying to do anything Botox, Revlon color stay. I'm speaking of me specifically.
But keep going.
Try to look fresher and younger and all this stuff. And you look at someone like Zac Efron, who is aging perfectly. Like he did go from sexy twink to the sexiest fucking bear, like so naturally when he was doing, regardless of what you think about the Killing Zac Efron reality show, he was like at peak physicality there. Like he looked absolutely what we would call perfect. And the fact that he thought that he'd have to build on that or improve upon it, we are a fucked up planet. By the way, today's episode is sponsored by Peachy, where I get my Botox every 12 weeks.
And like, there's like this insane pressure for women to look younger. But his audience is all of women who are also older, who aren't attracted to 17-year-old boys anymore. Like,
like he's not like playing towards his audience at all.
He's not,
actually.
He doesn't like, there is no value in him continuing to look really, really, really young anymore. It is actually better for him to look like more handsome, more older. Like rugged. If you were a fan of Zac Efron for your whole life and you were more attracted to him as a teenager, you are a disgusting person.
Yeah.
You are trouble.
Yeah. That's like, I'm raising my eyebrow at you. You are right. And too, it's like, I mean, it is. It's like women age and they get disgusting and men age and they get hot. Like that's like what America, like American culture, that's what they tell us. You know what I mean? And so it's like women are always trying to turn back the clock. And then when men do it, I'm basically proving what you're saying is that like when men do it, we're like, he got lip filler, like, bah! You know what I mean? Whereas like if every time a woman got lip filler, that was the reason for one of our episodes, we would never be able to get off the microphone.
Ever.
And another thing that makes him, this is, again, there is nothing to improve upon with him in 2019 when he turned into a bear. And I've just found out, you're getting my live reaction to finding out that Zac Efron is 5'8", which is to me, as a person who's 5'4", the clitoral perfect height for a person.
Oh dear God.
I went on a date Saturday night and I asked the person I was on a date with how tall he was, and he said 5'10", and I said, thank goodness, because that is my cutoff. And he sarcastically said, well, I guess I'm lucky. And I looked at him deadpan and I said, hey, you are. Yeah. Because if you were taller than that, this would be over. I don't need a phone book. What I need is Zac Efron. That's what I need. I need someone that height in my life.
He looks taller.
I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent.
Yeah. Tell us more about your sexual fantasies.
Please. All you have to do is listen to one episode. Come to any Patreon episode. They pretty much all devolve into who I'm hooking up with. But as much as we're talking about these other instances why Zac is here, the real sort of clincher detail happened in August of this year, 2024, when he was rushed to the hospital in Ibiza after being found unconscious in a swimming pool. So let's not forget.
Wait, is that real? I did not know this.
Is that real?
We talked about this. We definitely talked about this in the Pre-Fixe, I'm sure of it. He was discovered by two employees at the villa where he was staying. They found him underwater.
God. Oh, that's
it was
bad.
Described as a precautionary measure and that the incident was minor, but he had a significant amount of water in his lungs.
Oh, that's really bad.
And they had found him unconscious in a hotel pool, which is, thinking now about Matthew Perry in 17 again, isn't that exactly how he was found when he passed away last year?
Yes, in the hot tub.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I hadn't even made that connection until now. I don't think he was trying to imitate Matthew Perry, but yeah, that was a thing when he almost drowned. And it took like a week for the story to unfold because it kept changing in severity and the facts kept changing as well. So it sounds like something we'll never actually get the full story about, nor is it technically any of our business, but this is a podcast.
But also that's like scary. That makes me nervous for him. Well, wait, and then he's in this family affair movie where he's like banging out Nicole Kidman every 5 seconds, right?
Yep.
But I feel like he didn't get the comeuppance. Well, mainly because no one can outshine Nicole Kidman because she is the last star that we ever will have. But like, he didn't really get, like, in theory, he should be like on every meme of like him being hot, right? Don't you agree, right? Like he should be, and he kind of isn't. So like, what's happening?
If someone that hot is not in our lives, it's on purpose. Like, if we don't know more about him, the fact that he's on Fixing Famous People right now is because of him. I think it's possible he doesn't want to be famous, to be honest with you, because he's someone who has never actually, to me, made an effort. You know, there are what are his relationship scandals? He dumped Vanessa Hudgens when they were children.
Yeah, when they were literal children. Yeah.
But who is he even? I mean, unless I'm missing something, I truly can't remember any person he's ever dated. And he's truly like the hottest person in Hollywood.
Yeah, you're right. Who does he even date? Is he gay? How you doing, Zac Efron? Question.
Do I think Zac Efron is gay? I just don't.
I don't know. I don't know if I do either, but like you would, I don't know. Is he
don't
married?
Get a vibe.
Does he have any?
No.
Interesting.
Has his sobriety, like, is that something? I guess I don't think he talks about anything, but like the only thing I could find when I was frantically researching Zac Efron was really that he went to rehab a long time ago. And 2013. I guess that's the year that the jaw incident happened. We could assume that maybe he was drunkenly running through his house at his socks feet and ran into his grand counter.
The story of what happened to him? Instead of going to rehab, he's like, "Oh, I cracked my jaw."
He said he went to like I don't know. I think like everything that I read about him said that he talks about having gone to rehab and goes to AA and whatever.
Sure,
but he's never said that like he's struggled with it, like that he's continued to drink or had relapses or whatever, other than nearly drowning in a pool, which I don't know is a bit of a red flag.
Christopher, I'm on a red carpet right now walking up to the arena. I don't know where you are, but
I am too.
I'm there.
So am I. I don't know who he is. And I need to know who he is. We see him as this hot thing, but then he gets this weird jaw. Like, I need to know why he wanted to get this jaw injection.
Yes.
And he needs to come clean about it. Like, he needs to be like, I got jaw injections and lip injections. I want him to write a memoir and do like a big press tour for it. And I want to hear him getting sober. I think that's a really good story. And if he's been able to maintain it, I think it's a really, really good story to tell. If he wasn't using anything whenever he almost drowned in this pool, that's also a really good story to hear that he almost died. I want to hear about the car accident. I want to hear about like the chocolate fountain cracking open. I want to hear, I don't know. Or does he really just do an Architectural Digest open doors where he shows us the fountain? Like, that's funny, but like that doesn't actually, but like it kind of does fix him.
He probably doesn't even own that house anymore. You should have taken the prayer break before this miasma. What is this?
No, I don't know. I'm floundering. Okay, final answer is I want him to do an Architectural Digest open doors where he's like, here's the car that I got in a car accident with in 2013.
Just like all his accidents?
And it's like a jalopy that's like torn to shreds in the garage. Jesus. And then
so you want, for the first time in Architectural Digest history, they're also doing an expose in addition to a house tour. Yes. It's like a steroid. You're turning it into a steroided version of Crips.
I want it to be like fake. Maybe it's like fake. The whole thing is set up because he is so set up. Like, I don't feel like we authentically know who he is at all. Like, at all. He's always like oogled out for his body.
You're right.
He's always oogled out for his body. We don't know anything about him. We don't know what his sexuality is. We don't know who he's dating ever. We don't know anything about him. Like, I don't even know anything about his like AA story. There's so many sober celebrities that talk about it all the time. I don't know anything about any of his shit. And again, maybe that's good for him that we don't know anything, but like, maybe. I guess like I want to just see, let me see the fountain. Let me see the granite fountain. Like, because no one believes him and people bring it up a lot to me. They're like, Zac Efron's face, like, have you seen it? Like, wink, wink. Like, what the hell's happening there? I almost want it to be like before and after photos. Like when he does this, it's like, he does it on purpose to be funny where it's like, here's all these framed photos of me and it literally says before and after and it's like his old face and the new face.
You are giving him so much credit right now.
I think that'll make us all laugh about it.
Okay.
And then we see the chocolate fountain that's I'm picturing like two staircases going up and in the middle is the chocolate fountain that's granite.
It's the fountain that Scarface died in, but it's chocolate instead of water.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely the Scarface fountain. That's what it is in his house. And then there's two humongous like Teresa Giudice like staircases around it. and that's his house, and it's that's the first thing we see is the chocolate fountain, and and there's like his like brain matter on it.
This is the most circus pitch you have ever given on this podcast.
No, because I said memoir, but that's just boring. It's too boring. I know it. Like, and again, he's boring. So I like. Do I have faith in him writing it? No.
That's your pitch.
Should he have a sex tape? Oh no. Okay, my pitch is Architectural Digest.
Okay,
and that's my pitch. I'm off the rails. Goodbye.
Right. You are so far off the reservation right now. It is insane. I love it though.
He should have a sex tape.
Well, listen. Here's my pitch. There's the only thing that is going to fix Zac Efron. Honestly, not to have a serious moment. The only thing that's going to fix Zac Efron is my ass. He needs to fuck me. That's my pitch.
Could that be his sex tape?
This is, honey, yeah, I would be in a scat film with Zac Efron. And I mean that. Zac Efron, this is my actual pitch now. I think Zac Efron needs to open up a chain of Dave & Buster's. I think he needs to open up a Zac Efron campground. I think he needs to not even dabble with show business anymore, because as we have talked about him in this hour, we don't know anything about him. Do you know how hard it is in this day and age to not know something about somebody? It's because he does. If you don't know about a celebrity now, it's because they are doing things so you do not know about them. I just don't believe he wants to be in show business. I think if he wants to keep doing it, sure. I think he knows enough about show business that he'd probably be a kick-ass producer. My advice, I don't know if this is a non-fix or not, but when I say open up the Dave & Buster's, I mean, I feel like he doesn't even want to be famous. I mean, this guy has the world, to this day, he's got the world at his fingertips. He could do probably whatever he wants. We know nothing about his life because he doesn't want us to, and he's just not into it. So I'm not like hedging on fixing him, but I'm just saying, like, if you're going to stay in show business, produce some stuff that you're passionate about and just, I don't know, bow out. It's the first time I actually feel like I can't fix someone because this person doesn't want to be famous. He just doesn't. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But like,
no, I think he likes doing
There's
movies.
no like viral moment with him.
Yeah,
there's no internet presence. There's no nothing. And he's not even 40 years old yet, you know?
And even like us all catching him in like this horrible lie about this jaw thing. Like we still aren't like with pitchforks at his doorstep like we would be if J-Lo said this. Do you know what I mean? Like if someone that we like normally talk about on here said this, we would be like crucifying them.
I think he doesn't want it. So my fix is for him to retire from acting and just be a producer and open a Dave & Buster's just to keep it cute.
Is it even like a branded?
And also to fuck me. But that's like, yeah.
You have a multi-pronged plan for Zac
Efron.
A three-pronged plan, if you know what I
mean.
And for him to fuck me. Yes. He can multi-prong it. Yes, for sure. You can come over and multi-prong.
Is your Dave & Buster's plan? So I just need to be very clear. Dave & Buster's does not exist in Canada. This is restaurants, right?
Oh. Yeah, they're like sports restaurants.
But then it's
play
also
skee ball in there.
Yeah, okay. There's like an arcade that you can like buy tickets or you buy tokens and you play all these arcade games.
It seems like something he'd enjoy.
For sure.
I want him to be happy.
Can it be his? Is it
in
branded?
Your pitch, is he the face of it? Yeah. Is it like Zac Efron's and he has to do like...
No, I think just like he turns 50 and they're like, remember this guy? He owns 11 Dave & Buster's in the Southwest United States. You'd be like, no shit. That's what he's doing?
That's fair. No one wants to say 2 sex tapes, one before the jaw and one after the jaw.
I mean, that is normally what you would hear. We would normally be like, just show us your dick. Like, that's the fix. But I don't know. Like, as we're talking about him and hearing about all the few things he has revealed, he doesn't want to be famous. He just doesn't, because he could be. There are elements to the Zac Efron story we are never going to know because he has buried them so long ago. But it could be as simple as like, I was famous when I was a kid. I took it into adult. It fucked with my head. Now I don't want to do it anymore. That's what he gives me. It doesn't mean
fair.
I could be wrong. He could be like, fuck this queen. I'm an actor. I just want to act and then go about my day. If that's the case, then great. Then why aren't you doing more? You know? I don't know.
Oh, man. This is a hard choice.
He probably went to Australia to get away from Hollywood, too.
Or to get away from me specifically, from all the letters I've been writing him.
Yeah. Okay, Jennifer, it's time.
Oh, my God. This is such a hard choice. One of them feels like it's probably in the best interest of Zac Efron.
And it's not Chris's pitch.
It's the respectable choice that a concerned adult should choose.
Also remember that part of that pitch is him having sex with Dominic. So he is.
Yeah, that's true. Which is still a respectable adult choice.
Sure.
I want him to retire from acting and basically
in your asshole.
I want him to retire my hole as well. Yeah. I want him to retire all of it.
Is that contingent? Like he has to open the restaurant?
I want him to fuck me. I want him to fuck me so good I don't desire sex anymore. I want him to be the last person who has sex with me.
I don't know. And then
is my pitch still respectable now?
It's less respectable. It's sexually harassing Zac Efron into retirement and then forcing him to invest his High School Musical money into a chain of restaurants. Or an insane Architectural Digest tour where we see the fountain. Oh my God. I have to say, I am 100% not a good enough person to choose Quiet Life. Fucking Dominic. It is 100% a win for Chris.
God damn it.
Let's reinvent
the
brand
your own
of
powers
Architectural
against you, Dominic.
Can we change Chris's pitch so he does all of that and still fucks me at the end of it?
Yeah.
And then you're
Zac
waiting.
Efron is a grown man. He can fuck whoever he wants.
On the Architectural Digest live stream, I would let it happen.
Yeah.
When he gets to his bedroom and opens the door, Dominic is tied up.
I'm ass up. You don't even see my face. I'm ass up.
With like I think a blindfold on.
This is so horrific. This is so... Even I'm grossed out by thinking about it. But you know who won't be? Zac Efron.
No.
No. I'm cosplaying someone he wants to have sex with.
God in heaven.
I'd even take lesbian Zac Efron. I don't care. As long as he's over 18 at the time.
Dear God in heaven. What a whirlwind this has been.
Whew.
Jennifer, thank you for being here. Where can people find you?
Where can America find me? Instagram, Jennifer Brigden Comedy, and website is jenniferisfunny.com.
Beautiful handle.
I love that. I love that.
Isn't it great? Don't Google it because then it's just videos of Jennifer Lawrence. But if you, it's just Jennifer Lawrence saying funny things. But type it in on the top, you get me.
Dominic, where can people find you?
You can find me at my website, which is domentary.com. You can find me on Instagram at Dominick Pupa. I am right now on the road in the midst of my holiday tour. If you are listening to this podcast on the day it was released, December 4th, I am performing at Bourbon Room in Hollywood this evening, and I'll be in Palm Springs on Friday and Nashville on Monday. So please come down, say hi, have a drink, and a laugh. Christopher, where on the World Wide Web can the listeners of this podcast locate you?
You can find me at the DeRosa. You can find the show at Fixing Famous People, and you can find the Patreon at patreon.com/Fixing Famous People. Oh my God, I can't even talk. I'm so tongue-tied from my win that I can't even talk. Guys, get Apple subscriptions. If you're not on the Patreon and you don't know what Patreon is, get on those Apple subscriptions. You get a la carte episodes. And I mean, we're having so much fun at the Patreon. So sign up for $5, $10, or $20 tier and you'll get loads and loads and loads of extra stuff. I wish you both well. And as always, where's Shelly? Goodbye.